Be here with you once again. Boy, it seems like these 6 weeks have flown by. And that's the way it goes when you're having a good time, right? You're learning a lot of stuff and you're learning what it takes to be successful online. And that's what Project Platinum is all about. And so, guys, welcome to today's last masterclass. I know it's kind of a sentimental day because it is the last day. And I really, it's kind of a bummer because I love to do these masterclasses with you guys. But before we begin, guys, let me know in the chat, or as I should say, the question box, let me know that you can hear me just fine if you're excited about today's workshop, because we have a lot to cover when it comes to scaling with Facebook and talking about analyzing data as well as YouTube as well. And finally, guys, a couple of housekeeping things before we jump in. Number one, for those of you that still are asking if there's going to be a replay, the answer is yes, there is going to be a replay. There's been a replay every single week here inside of the Project Platinum Masterclass, and you can find it in three places. Number one, you can find the replays in the Facebook group in what we call the guides section. So go to the menu and you can find the guides. So click on guides and you'll see all those videos right there. The second place you can find it is in your membership area where all the training videos are. So just click on the Masterclass tab and those recordings will be in there for you. And then finally, you can also have the app. So if you have your Android phone or your Apple phone, if you have the app downloaded on there, you can watch the Masterclass replays in there as well. And so there's plenty of places to check those out. So hopefully you guys are utilizing that as well. And then finally, guys, as always, the way it works in terms of format for this masterclass, for the first half of the masterclass, we're covering Facebook training to show you guys how to have success with Facebook. We'll take a brief, 10-minute intermission, and then we'll head over to the second part with Coach Mariah, where we'll be going into the YouTube training, right? So if you're interested in YouTube or Facebook, right, that's how it's going to work as well, okay? And as I mentioned before, it's so important to pick one path and stick with that path. Don't try to do both at the same time because it'll just be a lot of energy going towards two separate things, right? We want to head in one direction. So choose one traffic source. You can always do the other one later on, but that's what I would say about that. Perfect. I see everyone in the chat saying they can hear me just fine. So that's great. And we're going to go ahead and dive in here. But before we do, I want to introduce, obviously, my partner in crime here when it comes to Facebook training, and that is Coach Stephanie. Coach Stephanie, are you there?
I'm here. Hello, hello. Very excited to be here. And I know I'm a little bit, I will say, today is the last week. I can't believe it's flown by so fast. I'm really excited about today. Lots of great content to cover, but a little sad. I really enjoyed the party here with everyone. So I'm here. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. And I see everyone is, I see some people saying, no, they don't want it to end, but hey guys, all good things come to an end. Right. And so, but the good news is you're going to have access to these replays. And I know that many of you actually have jumped into the inner circle. So it doesn't really end for you if you're in the inner circle, because you're going to be seeing Coach Stephanie a lot and myself a lot in the inner circle. We'll talk about it later on. But today, before we get into the agenda for today, we got to find out here, guys. Did you guys do your homework? Let me know in the question box. Did you get your homework done, which was to launch your campaign? I see a lot of people saying, yes, they did. People are excited about it. A couple people said they were halfway through it, which is fine. Yeah, it's important, guys. Get your campaign launched. Of course, you may make mistakes. That's totally fine, totally normal. We expect you to make mistakes. It's called being a human, and that's called the learning process, right? And so hopefully you guys get your homework done. And then we covered a lot over the last 6 weeks here. Boy, oh boy, we covered a ton of stuff. We covered mindset training in week number 1. We went over the entire program. We talked about week number 2, the Facebook Business Manager setup, ad account setup, and warming process. Week 3, we talked about setting up your landing pages, domains, and affiliate links. Oh my. We talked about creating your first Facebook ad in week number 4 over the copy and the creative and how important it is. Week number 5, we talked about launching your first conversion campaign. And then today, we're going to talk about how to actually analyze your data once those numbers start to come in and how you can go ahead and scale up from there. So that's what we're going to be going over. That's what we did cover the last 5 weeks. And then this week, we're going over a lot of stuff. We're going over the phases of a campaign, right? Because there are several phases, how to use data to scale and why it's so important to track your data. Because I don't know about you guys, but I want to tell you right now, this is not a gambling business model, right? We're not just running ads and hoping and praying and wishing something works. We're going to use data to make sure that we can make decisions off of it. We'll talk a little bit about scaling, not too much, but a little bit about scaling. We're going to talk about Cometly and why it is the best tracking software out there when it comes to what we do here in Project Platinum. We'll give you a little bit of homework. We'll do a Q&A, and then we will go ahead and end the masterclass. So that's the way it's going to work. So, Coach Stephanie, let's dive into it.
Yeah, sounds great. All right, you guys. Again, welcome to week 6. This is a exciting week because you've all launched your campaigns, and I'm really excited about that. This is really where the fun happens, right? And the party starts. Okay. So the first thing we're going to cover here is really the 4 phases of campaigns, right? So as you remember in the modules training, Robbie really talks and goes through in depth of the discovery, foundation, growth, and scale phase. And the 4 phases of the campaign is extremely important because if you don't know what phase you're in, and you're not using your data to analyze and to be able to decide what phase you're in, you won't be able to move, right, and scale those campaigns, okay? And so it's really important to know what those phases are. So in terms of the 4 phases, and we really, again, they really are 4 phases when you start your campaigns, okay? The discovery phase, of course, right, as a recap, is we're really planning out the offer, okay? Remember, this is where you're deciding what offer to promote, you're identifying your avatar, right? Who your audience is, what they like to do, where they live, what their interests, hobbies, etc. Are they married? Are they divorced? Are they single? Do they have kids? Do they not have kids? Are they, grandparents, etc., right? So we're really building that out based on the offer, okay? Identifying what we assume is going to be our target audience. And then we're really getting also into Spy Hero, right? This is where the spy tool is key, okay? Spy Hero is the best spy tool on the market, no question about it, okay? If you don't have Spy Hero, you are missing out in terms of your business. You don't want to recreate the wheel, okay? So use a spy tool. So this is where you're going to go into spy, your the spy tool, right? And you're really going to look at the winning ads, look at things that are running for the offer that you're going to promote. You're really working on copy, creatives, and lander. You're also using the AI tools here, right? This is really, really important. And talk to the affiliate manager, right? So remember, build a rapport with the affiliate manager. This is all part of that discovery phase, okay? So a lot of people jump in and they just want to start running campaigns. They don't go through these phases. This is really, really important. So in this phase, you're building out your campaigns, right? Basically what you did this last week, week 5, and all of the previous weeks, that really was the discovery phase, okay? And so this now you've built out your campaign, and now it's focused on testing, okay? This is that discovery phase. In this phase, it's very common to break even or even have a slight loss because we're testing, right? We need to find the winning creative, the copy and the lander, and the winning audience, right? And so we really are testing. This is really where you're going to be testing, several creatives. You may be testing different copy, different landing pages, different audiences, okay? And in a few minutes here, as we go through this, week 6 here, I'll talk about some different testing strategies as well. That's really key to the discovery phase, okay, of a campaign. And then now, once you have found, a winning ad, right, and you start to have some winning ad sets, now you're really in that foundation phase. So what really constitutes that is you should have at least 3 to 5 winning ad sets, okay? And you want to make sure that you're finding about 8 to 10 profitable ad sets in this phase of foundation, okay? If you're trying to move too fast through these phases, that is where you really will see you really will see success when you're really following the foundation of a phase and then going to the growth phase when you're ready, and then going to the scale phase when you're ready, okay? So the foundation phase, again, you found those 3 to 5 winning ad sets, right? And now you're finding, 8 to 10, you're starting to duplicate, right? This is during the duplication process. We're duplicating, 3 to 5 times. We're starting to duplicate and have higher budget maybe, and also duplicate at higher budgets, or even launching at maybe a few higher budgets, right? We're seeing some patterns now in our campaign, okay? Maybe it's different days of the week, different times of the day, etc., right? And you're starting to see here about 60 to 100% or more profitability, okay? So that is really, really important. Now, in this phase, you're spending about $700 to $1,500 a day. If these key components aren't part of your campaign, then you're still in the discovery phase. This is really important to remember, okay? The discovery phase isn't, maybe a week or two. It could be, several weeks. It even could be, a month or two, right? It could be longer. It could be shorter. It really is based on your own data. Okay. So once you've hit now the foundation phase, you've found these 8 to 10 profitable ad sets, and you are 60 to 100% at plus profitable. Now it's time to move to the growth phase. Okay. The growth phase is very, very important because in this phase, you are starting to be much more aggressive with your campaign, right? We've already found the winners. We have winning ad sets. We're already starting now higher budgets. Of course, we've talked about in the modules about the lower budget starting and really testing at that level, and the consistency. But now we're going to, we should be now at some higher budgets, duplicating at higher budgets, and duplicating not only just 3 times or 5 times, but maybe 10 times, maybe 15 times, right? Again, 3 to 10 times per ad set, but duplicating over and over and duplicating your duplicates, which is really, really, really exciting. And then again, in this phase, we are much more aggressive at killing losers, right? We are killing our losing dead assets so that we are increasing our profitability. And we're killing faster. Okay. Remember, in the discovery phase, you're really, again, warming the pixel, you're testing. When you get to these other phases, we're going to start killing a lot faster because now we know what our cost per purchase or our cost per acquisition should be, right? We have a lot more data here, okay, in the growth phase. So now we are, again, implementing that 80-20 rule. That is where 80%, right, of your ad sets should be your winners, right? And 20% is still testing some new audiences, maybe also testing a new creative here and there, testing maybe or adjusting lander or copy, okay? But again, it's really mostly 80 to 90% of really what's winning, right? Your audiences and scaling. Now, aggressively into this growth phase, because now we will be moving into the scale phase, okay? But you also, not speeding or spending. You should be spending, spending $1,500 plus per day and be profitable, okay? That is really key, right? If you are not at least 1,500 or more spend per day and a consistent profitability without dipping below that, then you're not ready to go to the real aggressive scale phase. Okay. And so again, these phases are really important. Now we're jumping in. We should now be ready to be at the scale phase again. And remember, as Robbie says, you've earned it. You put in the work. You are ready to scale. You know when a campaign is ready to scale because it is almost effortless, right? It just works. Okay. Your ads are winners. You are basically on all ad sets. You're 90% you're scaling up across, and you're not only are you scaling with higher budgets, but you're also now scaling horizontally across business managers and other ad accounts. Okay, that's really important. And so one of the misconceptions is that you may run in your campaign just in one ad account, right? But that actually isn't always how we scale. When we scale, we also scale horizontally across assets. So that could be additional ad accounts, again, within your business manager or other business managers, right? You may have 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 business managers that you're scaling across, okay? Because this is again at the scale phase, right? Which is a much bigger aggressive phase, okay? This is it. So you've earned it. You're scaling now, and you're really getting to high volume, high numbers. And you're still implementing that 80-20 rule, okay? Remember, 80% of your budget should be going to winners, and 20% still should be to some testing, because the key importance of campaigns to remember is that at some point they do fatigue, right? Ads fatigue, copy fatigues, creatives, landers, and headlines fatigue even. So you want to make sure that you have some backups in place, ready to go. And that to do that, you've got to be testing alongside your winners. Okay. And so that is really the phases of campaign. It's important to remember that all of this, okay, is based on data. Okay. That's the key component here. As I move on to the next, anything else you want to add to that, Robbie?
No, this is great. Yeah. So guys, one of the things that I think a lot of people just, kind of make the mistake of when they first start is they just, they just kind of go with it. They're just hoping that the campaign works out. And so, the nice thing about this, guys, is now you realize that there are actually 4 phases of a campaign. And so, you can kind of just decide and decipher where you're at personally in your campaigns based on these requirements here. So it's always good to go back and, once you start to run campaigns, get data to look at these 4 phases and identify where you are. So that way you're not moving too fast, and that way you can, grow the campaign in the appropriate way. So yeah, this is great.
Cool. Okay. Yes. And again, as he's saying, what's appropriate and moving to the next phase, as Robbie mentioned, it is, remember, these are also a lot of the scaling techniques and getting to those additional phases are in module 8, where we really talk about some advanced scaling techniques at that scale phase. Okay. But what's most important, most important of anything, when we're looking at our data, okay, is being able to analyze that data accurately, okay, and knowing our numbers, right? So that's really, really important, because we can't get to those additional phases without knowing what our numbers are, okay? And tracking in Facebook is not 100% accurate. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's really 50% accurate most of the time. So that is why we really want to have a tracking software such as Commonly, okay? Tracking to get to those additional phases in your campaign past that initial discovery phase. Truly, you need a tracking software. You need to be able, this is a business, remember, this is a business. You've got to invest in your business, and there are business tools that make this business successful. One is Spy Hero or a Spy Tool, and one is a tracking software, which is Commonly. Okay, and I'm going to show you in a few here in a few minutes as we go through this masterclass, what just an overview of Commonly and how cool it is and how much. One, how it really analyzes your data to get you to those phases, right? To be able to see the data. But number 2, how it really helps with time management. Okay. It doesn't take hours and hours now to analyze the data because it's all in Commonly for you. That's really important. Okay. But that is a tool that is, in my opinion, non-negotiable. Okay. So when you are running multiple ads, which you will be doing in these additional phases, you're going to be running lots of, a lot of ads. We're not, you may be running some really high budget ads, but you may be running, 50, 60, 70 ads at lower budgets too, right? And you're duplicating. So you need to have a tracking system that really tracks that. You need to have a tracking system that Commonly, a software that tracks your data accurately, which is the data to look at your ROI and to know where you're profitable at. And so we want to know which ads are getting sales, so that we can put more money into those ads, right? And turn off our dead ads or our dead weight, right? Which is our non-performing ads. Okay. One of the things to remember that in Facebook, the pixel isn't accurate. Okay. So a Facebook may show that you have a sale on an ad set because the pixel tracks that ad set as a sale, but it's really not where the sale came from. Or it can show, maybe it doesn't show a sale and you did get a sale there. Okay. So it is, again, that is one of the reasons we use Commonly, because you've got to know where your sales are coming in. Okay. And then if you are running, 6 ads or more, right, of course, you're going to be in those much higher phases, the, foundation phase, and then the growth phase, and then the scale phase. When you get sales, the only way to get to those additional phases to start duplicating is knowing where that sale is at. Okay. Or sorry, which ad set that sale came to. Okay. And so that's why the tracking is so important. And having more ad sets at lower budgets in most cases is typically going to lead to higher levels of consistency in the long term in these phases. Okay. So you remember Robbie talked about in the modules, and especially in module 8, when we're building out, the campaigns and scaling and all these different techniques of scaling, there's, you can vertically scale and do higher budgets, but you also want to be horizontally scaling. Horizontally scaling is usually the majority of ad sets, okay? Meaning you're duplicating these ad sets, and some of them, or a good number of them are probably going to be at some lower budgets. When we talk about lower budgets, we're talking, pretty much anything lower than $100 or $200, right? And so we need to know, again, where those sales are coming from the tracking, to be able to duplicate these out when they're getting. And so we know what, so we can duplicate our winners. Okay. One of the most important things in scaling a campaign, or the process of that, from going from that discovery to the foundation and growth phase, when you start doing the duplication process, is really duplicating your ad sets, your winners, when they are hitting. So we want to make sure that we can hit or duplicate an ad set when it gets the sale. You want to do that within 24 hours, at the right 24 hours to when the ad gets the sale. Okay, and the reason for that is you want to hit that ad, or you want to duplicate that ad when it's on its way up, right? Not when it's on its way down. So if an ad set gets a sale today, I need to know that ad set got a sale today, or let's say tonight, so that tomorrow, at 3 a.m., I can now scale that ad set, which would be duplicating that ad set, right? And so it's really, really important to be able to, of course, know the data for that. Okay. And so how do we use the data, right? Using the data to scale is so important. This is the key to this business, which is so great, is that this business is not based on emotion. This business is based on data, okay, which is amazing because we can track our data, but never under any circumstance should you use anything like emotions to scale up your ads, okay? Everything should be based on your data. And the data is, of course, found in Commonly, okay? One of the biggest mistakes that people make in this business is when they're trying to scale their ads, is one, that they're not basically going off the data, right? They're really basing it off emotion. And so that will kill your campaign overnight, okay? And so a couple mistakes here that people also make is when it comes to scaling ads, they stop testing, right? The 80-20 rule is really, really important. Never stop testing, okay? You need to be testing not only scaling strategies, but testing your copy, your creatives, and your audiences. And we're going to talk about that in a minute here of how do we know when we have to test, right? And what do we test? And that's really based on data. It's going to be analyzing those metrics that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Your CTRs, right? Your cost per clicks, your click-through rates, your landing page click-through rate, your ROI. All of that is really, really important, because if you don't know those numbers, then you don't know what you have to test, okay? So that's really important to get to those next phases. Again, the growth phase, the foundation phase, the growth phase, and the scale phase, okay? And then, of course, 80-20% or 80-20 rule. We talk about that all the time. Robbie really mentions this in, all of the training, because it is so, so important. Your ads will get fatigued. You've got to continue to test, and you need to have backups in place, okay? So never stop testing, even when you are at that growth phase, foundation phase, scale phase, okay? That's where people actually get lazy, right? We get comfortable and we stop testing, and then when your ads fatigue, you don't have any backups in place. So that's really important, okay? So again, one of the other things here to mention is some of the most successful campaigns have come from unconventional scaling techniques. So remember, in Module 8, Robbie really goes through some advanced scaling techniques. Okay. So, he talks about the bully method, right? And he talks about, which is like basically shotgunning, the bully method, also about, departing and, giving, basically telling, Facebook, hey, I'm willing to spend, $5,000 or $10,000 on this ad, right? I want to win in the auction, right? And then he talks about, scaling to different ad accounts, right? And then of course, scaling by duplicating and scaling by higher budgets. But what is, important to remember that sometimes when you make a mistake in a campaign, that can actually be a great learning experience. And it also sometimes can help you find something that you didn't know was working. Okay. And so, it's really funny because, and I think Robbie talked about that in several, in the training about how that can happen. And that actually happened to me when I first started. I actually ran some ABO campaigns, which is ad set budget, right? Campaigns. And at the time when I first started, I didn't really, again, I made a mistake. I went in to launch a campaign, and instead of ABO, I didn't realize I put a CBO, which is like Advantage Budget now in Facebook or Meta. But back then it was called a CBO, which was Campaign Budget Optimization. So instead of doing the ABO, I did a CBO, and it was one of the best campaigns I actually did. It was a mistake. I had no idea at the time, right, that I had put that campaign together like that. But again, it worked for me. It was a mistake, but I learned that CBOs, can be a really cool scaling and a way to, a really great type of campaign to run. And I learned how to do those just from that mistake. So again, these sometimes unconventional scaling techniques also can be really rewarding for your campaigns. Wouldn't you agree, Robbie?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's, really, really important. And then, the other thing I would say too is that, guys, the unconventional stuff. I mean, a lot of times will happen. I'll see students, they'll keep asking, they'll be like, well, Robbie, like, what if I do this? Will this work if I do this? Or if I try this, will it do? My answer is try it, see if it works. That's the thing, guys. Like, don't rely and wait for, us to tell you to try something, right? Just try it and see if it works. And if it does, awesome. Then you have the advantage. If you don't, then you will never know. So it's important you guys, kind of make sure you always just take the initiative and test things out. But yeah, it's important to do that for sure. So yeah, this is great. Let's keep going.
Cool. Okay. All right. So this gets us into really what that data looks like, right? And remember, it's all about analyzing the data. You don't want to make decisions off of emotion. You want to know your data, which is what we'll jump into in a minute here in Comment-Lead. Okay. So analyzing the data. We are, no matter what phase we're in our campaigns, we are always looking at most of the time, this is the most important data. Okay. So metrics to look for, you're looking for, of course, an ROI when you're scaling of 130 to 200%, right? Because if you are trying to scale at less than that, one, you're going to have chargebacks and refunds with products. That does happen. And you want to make sure you have enough cushion in your campaign or in your ad sets to be able to scale those. Okay. So that's really important. CTR, which is, again, these acronyms here and these abbreviations are, the ROI is your return, right? Your return on investment. Your CTRs are your click-through rates, right? Your click-through rates, this is link CTR, which is your link click-through rate, and your CTR all, which is your click-through rate all, okay? From the people that obviously click over from your ad to your landing page, and then anyone that clicks on your ad. 7 to 12% is where you want to aim. Your cost per click, that's your CPC, okay? Your cost per click, you really want to aim for less than $1. Can you be profitable at a cost per click over $1? You can, okay? But remember, when you're first starting out and you're starting to get to these different phases, you want to aim for less than $1, of course, to keep your, to increase your ROI and to be profitable, okay? Landing page click-through rate, okay? Now, if you're running a quiz, you can be somewhere around the 30 to 40%, okay? If you're not running a quiz, then you really want to be at, closer to the 50% or so for that non-quiz, okay? Now, remember, the landing page click-through rate, some of this data here, the landing page click-through rate data not only is going to be found in Comment-Lead, but you can also look at in your AI tools or Project Platinum tools, and you can calculate that as well there, okay? Hops, this is really important as well. the number of hops that you're getting, and your order form impression or order form impressions. Now, these numbers, again, are going to vary in whichever phase you're in. They're going to be a lot more accurate as you get to these, the growth, the foundation phase and the growth phase, and of course the scale phase, because you're going to have data to go off of in your campaign. At the beginning, you're really going to be, basing this on what the vendor is saying for the average order value and what the vendor is giving you for, the conversion rate and things like that. Okay, how many hops to get an OFI and your order form impressions. But as you start to scale or move to these different phases, you will take all of the data in your campaign, analyze that to make those decisions. Okay. And so when do we kill? Of course, when our KPIs, which are those numbers, all of those numbers are not met, right? And our ROI is not at the point where we want it to be. So obviously, if we're in our discovery phase, we're going to be killing things a little bit later because we need to get data, right? We're willing to be breaking even in the discovery phase, okay? But also when you're running ad sets, remember that we're also looking at about 48 to 78 hours before we want to even determine whether to kill, okay? Don't touch your ad sets for the first 24 to 48 hours. Things change hour to hour, day to day in Facebook. You need to get enough data, okay? And so how do we look at this data, right? Well, that's where Commently comes in, okay? So I'm going to jump into a Commently account here and just show some of these metrics and how cool this is in live form, okay? For those of you that don't have Commently yet, you should definitely be signing up. Okay. I'm going to jump into this. Is that all right, Robbie? Anything? Do you want me to answer any questions? Anything before that?
No, I think this is great. Yeah, let's go into Commonly. We'll spend some time answering some questions at the end. But yeah, this is great.
Cool. Okay. So for Commently, I am going to stop sharing just for a second so I can share this other screen. So guys, this is a demo account here that I just want to kind of show you what, this is, of course, the discovery phase, of a student, right? They're really testing here. They're looking at creatives, their copy, their landers, right? They're really trying to they're starting to get some sales, but they're really trying to figure out what's working. Okay. So this is definitely a discovery phase. What's really cool about Commonly, and I'll just kind of go through, some of these metrics that is really cool, that the dashboard here, you're going to be able to see your spend, your revenue, your profit, your ROI, the number of purchases, right? Your track sales, and really your top performers, ad accounts, campaigns, ad sets, right? And again, if you're getting Commently, when you get Commently, you're going to want to make sure that you go through the training. Okay, it's really important. You're able to filter data and analyze data by different dates, time frames. So this is really, really important. When we get into the ads manager, okay, this is key because you're able to really figure out where, again, when you're in the discovery, where you need to work on in terms of the campaign. Okay, so let's go into a campaign to show you here of kind of what that looks like. So I have a campaign here for a weight loss product. In overall, I'm just going to show the metrics here in the main area, but it shows me not only the some of the Facebook information. I'm going to go to from default. I'm going to go to all metrics. It shows me my CPMs. We didn't really talk about CPMs, okay, but it is important as well. This is your cost per 1,000 impressions. Usually you want this about $50 or less, give or take, okay? But we really are going to be able to look at the data that we talked about that is so important, okay? Which is, right, your click-through rates, your cost per click, your destination visits, which are hops, okay? In Commently, they're called DVs or destination visits. So look here, look at how cool this is. It shows in my overall campaign if I'm looking for just a week. And again, this is, which shows that this, this person's cost per click is 99 cents, right? So she's definitely in the range, right, of a dollar or less, okay? Her click-through rate is a little low here, right? She's at 4%. 5.5% or almost 5.5% for our CTRL. Now, this is granted just for the weeks. But what's really key here, okay, is if I dial into the ad sets, I can see the different ad set click-through rates, right? And so I can say now, or if this was my campaign, I would say, okay, I know that I need to work on my creatives, right? Or my copy, because my click-through rates are not where they need to be, right? My cost per clicks overall. Now, granted, this is in this last week, cost per clicks have gone really high here. So this is, obviously way out of the range, right? We want to be below $1, okay? And then it's going to show me also my landing page click-through rate, right? Which is amazing. I don't have to calculate any of this data. So I can just come in here and I can say, okay, why, where am I at? I'm in the discovery phase. Where am I at in terms of what do I need to work on, right? Where are my click-through rates? My click-through rates are low. I need to work on copy. I know I need to work on creatives. That's our front end metrics. We know that our click-through rates are very, are basically these are from copy and creatives. Okay. This is from the front end of Facebook, right? I know my cost per click is either my audience or my creatives. So I know I need to work on creatives, okay, because that is going to help lower these costs. I could also maybe be testing some different audiences, okay. Landing page is pretty good, right? I've got a 46%. Again, I'd like to see this 50% or higher. This, if this was a non-quiz landing page, okay. But overall, landing page is doing what it needs to do. So I know the front end metrics are really where I need to work on, okay. And I've got, again, a few order forms here. I'm able to see, my OFI to sales. I'm able to see sales overall. And then I'm also able to see my profitability or my return, right? If these were ad sets that we're starting to hit, right? Now, this is just in the last day or so, because these just got launched, right, in this campaign. But as you can see, this is a discovery phase, right? We're really looking at the data here to be able to determine where we're at in the campaign, okay? And this is also really important per ad set, right? Because we talked about if an ad set has, Robbie in this training, right, in module 8, he also talks about the duplication process. We're duplicating if an ad set has, at least 2, but mostly 3 or more sales, right? So we know we're not ready to duplicate. We're not ready to scale this ad set yet. Does the ad set have an ROI that's over the 130 to 200%? Absolutely, right? So if this gets another sale, this would be an ad set, okay? And we would want to make sure we're on a maximum view here, but this would be an ad set if it gets another or two more sales, would be ready to duplicate, okay? All of this data is key, right? Because this is what we're looking for. We're looking for our ROI, we're looking for our profitability, we're looking at what ad sets are getting sales. I know I only got one sale so far, right? Or this person has only gotten one sale and in this campaign, okay? But as you can see, these numbers are so key, because if you can't analyze this data, then you're going to make decisions based off emotion. You're going to make decisions based on, hey, do I kill ad set 19B or 22, or do I let it keep running, right? Well, I feel like maybe it might get a sale, so I'm going to keep it running. We never want to do that, right? We want to make our decisions based on data, okay? So again, we can see our spend, we can see our link click-through rates, we can see our cost per click, we can see our ROI, our destination visits, our hops, our order forms, and then more information here too that you'll start to learn as you use Commently, and we'll know which phase our campaign is at, okay? Which is really, really, again, the key to success for this business, okay? And you can also go into some reporting, you can do daily breakdowns and spend analysis. You can see all the different accounts that you're running, of course, right? And looking at overall, like if, let's just say in terms of, this person that's running, or this is mine, let's just say, I might want to go into all the campaigns running, okay? Or if I'm scaling across multiple business managers or, ad accounts at that, basically at that scale phase, right? Or that growth phase, I need to be able to go in here and go, okay, what are my ad accounts doing, right? Which ad account has the highest profitability? Which ad account, needs, do I need to be killing faster and that's killing my profitability, right? As you can see, there is just so much amazing data that you can see in here. Okay. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, of course, right? So you want to make sure you go through Commently training. You want to be able to analyze your data accurately. You need Commently. You need a tracking software. There's no question about it. And then of course you can do all kinds of different defaults here too in your dashboard. Okay. In the ad. Oh, well, actually in your dashboard, you can also see kind of where you're at, like profitability for your week, right? So the last 7 days, how much the person, how much you've spent in a campaign, or overall, all of your campaigns, all of your ad accounts, okay? Your revenue, your ROAS, which is your ROI, okay, and your profitability, right? And then you start to know, like, okay, hey, I'm still in the discovery phase. I know that because I'm only spending, right, 100 to 150, less than $150 a day. I only have maybe three winning ad sets. So again, I need to work on copy. I need to work on creatives. I need to still test. I only have, a few number of sales in here. Okay. Yes. Am I profitable for the week? Yes. But if I didn't have all this data to look at, I might think, oh, I'm ready to scale this campaign, right? Which is 100% not accurate, right? You would never want to scale this campaign at this point. So this is why analyzing your data is so important, because we need to know what phase of a campaign we're in, okay? Any questions that are coming in based on that, Robbie?
No, people were asking just in terms of where to access Commently, guys. I'll drop the link in the chat. Remember, you get 30 days access to Commently. So make sure you guys go ahead and do that, and definitely do it for sure. Now, obviously, Commently is there's other options. Of course, if you wanted to use like UTM tracking, or you certainly can do that. I know someone always says, well, what's the cheapest option? And guys, I'll tell you right now, like, I never will give you the cheapest option, because that's not what I do. I always give you the best option, the option that myself and the coaches use. And that's what we use. And that's Commently. Okay. So that's great. And I see some other questions here, but I know my team has been answering, and I've been answering behind the scenes here, a lot of questions as well. So let's go back to the slides and keep on going.
Cool. Okay. I am going to, can you see this now?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Hold on one second. All right. There we go. Okay. Cool. Okay. Should be able to see it now.
Yep. I got it.
Awesome. Okay. All right, you guys. So again, this is the key. Commently is the key to analyzing the data. Commently is the key to these metrics. Okay. So that's I'll preach that all day long, because that is really the key to getting to the additional phases of a campaign. Okay. So how do we do that? And really, what are those testing strategies, right? Now, again, in the modules, I went through some testing strategies that are really important. And this isn't just in the discovery phase. Remember, as Robbie, talks about in his training too, in the modules in module 8, you want to make sure you're testing, at least through all of these phases. You want to, you're going to be testing a lot less than you are going to be in the discovery phase, of course, in that first phase of campaign. But once you get to the growth and the foundation and the scale phase, you still have to be testing to make sure you have backups in place. Okay. And so how do we do that? Well, we test based on one variable at a time. That is the key, right? We're going to test. Obviously, we always want to start with testing our creatives. This is huge in the discovery phase, because you're creative, which is, when we say creative, this is our image or our video. Okay. This is what's on the front end of Facebook in your ad. This is the biggest mover. This is the mover for your click-through rates. And this is almost always the biggest mover for your cost per clicks. Okay. Now, audience, of course, can be instrumental in that, right? Because you can't, if you're not using a lookalike audience, or you're using an audience or an interest base that just isn't, resonating with this type of product or this your ad, then of course those numbers, those click-through rates and cost per click may be higher. But most of the time, I would say 90%, it's going to be your creative, okay, and your copy. So that's your first test. That's your first, you're always testing these first. That's what you want to find, a winning copy and creative first, okay? And then once you do that, now you can also go into an ad copy test. Now, you may have found your copy and creative right away. You may have, tested a few ad creatives with a copy, and that might be your winner, but you may not. You may need to test copy too. So the exact same, method, one variable at a time. When you found that winning creative, that image or video, now, test that against different copies. Make sure you have a winning copy. Okay. And then your next phase would be of testing would be headlines. Maybe you're going to, maybe you have to test headlines. Maybe you don't. Again, one variable at a time. Now you take your winning creative, your winning copy, and you test it against headlines. Okay. And then next, of course, you're going to be testing landing pages if you need to do that. Again, how would we know what we need to test? Commonly, right? We know by our data. So you've got to know the data, and you don't know the data unless you're using a tracking software that's accurate. Okay. So again, we test based on the data, right? So if we see our landing page is doing great, well, and our front end metrics look, we need to work on those, and we know what we need to test. If the front end, creatives, click-through rates, our cost per clicks are great, metrics look great, we're getting some sales, but hey, our landing page click-through rate is really low. Our hops are a little bit low. Hey, now we know we need to test landing pages, right? And we know that because we can see that in commonly. Okay. And so those are really the strategies to test. It is really important, again, to test methodically. Okay. This is one of the most important things about testing is you don't just want to be testing all these different variables at one time because you don't know what's going to be working, right? You need to know what's working and what's not working. And to do that, like the scientific method, literally one variable at a time. A variable is your creative, your copy, your headline, your lander, and your audience. Okay. So again, that's the testing. And that's really all I have. I mean, I think we have covered a ton today. Really excited. Sad that it's our last week of the masterclass, but you guys, I mean, you have all of the tools and all of the, I hope this was helpful because you really have I feel like in this masterclass, this is one of the most important because this really gets you from those different phases to, of course, where we all want you to be is ClickBank Platinum, right? So you're scaling.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is great. Yeah, guys, let me know in the chat. Has this been helpful so far? You guys have been enjoying the last 6 weeks? Definitely let me know. And hopefully you have. I know the feedback's been great. And so hopefully you guys have been enjoying the 6 weeks. You've been taking action and as we wrap things up today. So yeah, awesome, guys. We're going to answer questions in just a moment here. But obviously, once again, for those of you that are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad. I wish I could get continued coaching and help and all that stuff. Of course, you're going to get that inside of the Project Platinum Facebook group. We're going to be in there answering questions and stuff. But if you like the interaction, if you like the weekly calls, then you're going to love, like I said, the inner circle. So make sure you guys go to projectplatinum.com/inner circle. I'll post that link in the chat again, and that way you get those weekly calls with Coach Stephanie. You get access to I do a monthly call on the inner circle. There's done a few campaigns. There's separate Facebook group. There's all kinds of awesome stuff in there for you guys, which is going to be really, really cool. So make sure you guys do that by going to that link you see in the chat right there as well. Awesome, guys. And then let's see here. Well, we're going to give a little homework, right? So homework, guys, obviously you got to analyze your campaign data. You got to test, of course. And you need to sign up for Commently if you have not yet, because it's important. I'm telling you guys, like, I know some people will be like, oh my gosh, Commently, it's not the cheapest option. Guys, I'm going to tell you that, one of the best things you can invest in besides a spy tool and besides Project Platinum is a tracking software, because a tracking software should never cost you money. The only thing it's going to do is help make you money because
100%.
If you've never been around back in the day when we used to use spreadsheets, I mean, just one user error, one input that's incorrect could cost you literally thousands of dollars, guys. I probably have, just donated to the bank of Facebook thousands of dollars just in silly mistakes way back when. So it's important, guys, that you just kind of keep that in mind, right? Because a lot of times, as when you first start this entrepreneurial journey, a lot of you think that you count your dollars and cents, and I get that, and you have to be, budget conscious a lot for sure. But also, guys, it's important to realize that what you're doing, like these are investments, right? These are tools that can help you have a better chance of success. Like, the example I always give is that, yes, you could cut the grass with a pair of scissors, right? You can mow your lawn with a pair of scissors, but guess what? It's going to take you a long time. There's better things you can do. You might want to get a lawnmower, right? Because a lawnmower is probably going to be a little bit better option for you. Yes, it costs more than a pair of scissors, but guess what? You get your lawn done faster, right? You got more time to do other stuff. Same thing when it comes to tracking softwares. Okay, so just important to keep that in mind. Now, let's go ahead and answer some questions here. So let's see here. Questions. So I guess first question I see right out the gate is someone is asking. Well, I think we already answered this, I think last week actually, but they were saying, how long should they run their ad without any sales?
Yeah, so we did answer that for sure, but let me kind of go through it real quick again. The most important thing to remember is to not touch your ads for about 24 to 48 hours, unless you're seeing really, really high costs. Cost per clicks, right? But again, things fluctuate day to day. So 24 to 48 hours, let your ads run, get some data on them, right? You need to have that data. And then if you're not getting sales, right, after that 48-hour or 72-hour mark, well, it depends on the product, right? So if you're running a product that is, an AOV, you want to take your average order value of that product, which is at the discovery phase, when you're first starting, you're going to have to take the vendor's AOV, which is, whatever they're saying that average order value is. Maybe it's 140 divided by about 1.5 and, take out about 15 to 20% of that for chargebacks or refunds that you might get on the product. And then that's really where you're going to kind of be in terms of being willing to spend to get a sale. Okay. At least when you're first starting. Remember, discovery phase is you're willing to go a little bit longer on those ad sets because you're really trying to get data. You're looking at your costs. You're looking when sales are going to come in. And so I would say, again, if you're at 20 or 25 bucks a day, 72 hours is pretty sufficient, about $75 on most of the products. You should have a sale. I think that's probably reasonable.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's, and guys, you can have different numbers, and those numbers will change as you start to run campaigns, but initially kind of follow those metrics, kind of what we talked about. And that's going to be important, especially in that discovery phase, which is the first phase of the, everything we talked about here. Right. So that's the one thing there. The other question I see someone asking is, let's see here. Where was it? I just lost it. I saw all these questions are coming in quick. Where is it? Wow, that was a good one too. Let's see.
I see a good question. When do we always use or what budget should we start at? Right. Yeah. So that's a great question. Again, when you're in the discovery phase, you want to do, start out at low budgets when you're testing, right? So usually $20 to $25 is a great budget. Okay. But you can launch it lower if do what works for you, of course, in your budget, but $20 to $25 is what we recommend. That's, you're going to have to go a little bit longer at the lower budgets if you're only launching at $10, remember, you're going to have to be a little bit more patient. But yeah, you want to start at low budgets, which is, $20 to $25 an ad set. Okay. Before you start those higher budgets, you don't necessarily want to, jump out, launching campaigns at $100 or anything, launching ad sets at $100, during the discovery phase, right? Because you got to find your winners first. So that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another great question I see as well is that someone's asking, how do I know if I have to change my landing page, my ad, or the offer? I think that's a great question. Yeah,
that's a great question. So always it's your stuff. Now, most of the time, right? So when we say it's the funnel, if the first question of do we change the offer? No. Remember that the offer, as long as you're using or promoting a top offer, which is, remember, the first or second page of ClickBank, or one of the offers in the inner circle. So, that's another reason to be in the inner circle, is because, Robbie's team test new products, and the products that are, the offer of the month is always a very top product that converts well. So again, make sure that you're, promoting a top offer. If you're promoting a top offer, it's never the offer. Okay. It's always your landing page or your copy and creative. And the way to know that is by having Commently, because you need to be able to know your click-through rates and your cost per click and your landing page click-through rate. So if your cost per click is, of course, above $1, you need to work on creatives and copy. If your click-through rates are, again, your link click-through rates, we're thinking 7 to 12% is really where we want to aim for. If your click-through rates are lower than that, then again, copy and creatives are what you need to test. If your landing page, right, that landing page LPCTR in Commently is lower than, if you're running a quiz, if it's lower than 30%, you definitely got to work on it. If you're running a non-quiz lander and it's lower than 45 to 50%, you got to work on it. So I would say, again, Commently, it all comes down to knowing your numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And so that's why it's so important, guys, to have the right data, because, and it kind of goes back to, if you're using old spreadsheets and stuff like that, then that may not be the best option there for you. So it's important to keep that in mind, that Commently can give that better data. And that's the thing too, is like, we talk about like time saving as well, because back when I had to enter numbers into a spreadsheet, I mean, I would literally spend probably an hour, 2 hours a day trying to like just enter information, because the more you spend on ads, the more ad sets you have, the more data you have to input. And then finally it was being able to do it so that with Commently, it's just at a quick glance, you're good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, Robbie, that's 100%. When you get, as we all know, right, this is a business. And so it's all about also time management, and, when you can spend less time having to analyze the data and more time getting sales, that's what everyone wants, right? And so the key here is being able to have, logging in, being able to see your data in like 30 minutes, deciding what's working, what's not working, and, move on to the next task, right? Versus spending 3 or 4 hours. Because 100%, if you don't have accurate tracking, I mean, you're having to go to, ClickBank, and you're having to go to Facebook, and you're having to rely on data that may not be accurate, and probably is not accurate in Facebook. And then, of course, those spreadsheets, those take some time. And then once you start getting to those higher, foundation growth phases, man, it's very, very difficult without accurate tracking.
Yep, for sure. Awesome. Let's go ahead and answer a few more questions here before we wrap it up. Let's see. And yeah, and like I said, guys, and I've said it every week, but if you don't hear me or Coach Stephanie call out your question, don't think we're ignoring you. We've had a lot of people ask questions. Our team has been behind the scenes answering questions. I know I have, when Coach Stephanie's answering. So just want to make sure that you guys know that we're not ignoring you. And then also, for those of you that are still asking about the replay, there is a replay, right? That we'll post the replay just like we have for the past several weeks, right? It'll be in the either members area Facebook group or on the app. Okay. Sweet. So let's see here. What else we got for questions? Let's see.
I see some fire emojis. People are loving the Commently information, and they love, let's see, what other fire emojis came up here? Oh yeah, about the phases. Yeah, that's the key, right? Phases of your campaign, to know those phases. I think that, again, so many people, you guys, so many people could try to jump to the next phase. So I love those fire emojis, because that is key. If you're paying attention to that today, that is a huge part of this business, is knowing the phase of your campaign.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
Love that. No, that's great. Awesome. Well, actually, I think, you know what, we're going to probably go ahead and wrap it up. I think we answered most of the questions here, and I know we've answered a bunch during the past couple of weeks, but guys, but we're done the first half here, but that doesn't mean that we are done the entire 6 weeks, guys, because we still have the YouTube 6-week masterclass to go, which is going to be awesome. So anything you want to add, Coach Stephanie, before we wrap it up for the Facebook section?
I would just say, hey, you guys make sure you are going through this, rewatching the recording of the masterclass. That is really, really important. Also, make sure you are taking action every day in your business. Get on the calls for sure, right? Because we do calls. I do live calls in the main group as well. If you're not in the inner circle, definitely think about the inner circle. If you liked what we're basically getting for the last 6 weeks, which I hope you did, because we sure gave you a lot of amazing information. Jump into the inner circle, because these calls are, again, they're very interactive. You can share your screen. You can, send over your creatives, right? So that's the other thing, is in the inner circle, your landing pages, your copy, your creatives, your images, your videos, your headlines, you can send those over to me and I analyze those on a call, right? And so if you're, have questions on that in terms of your data, which one may be working better, or, basing on what your data is showing you. I can help you with that. So again, I just like to say thanks for having me. It was an amazing 6 weeks. I'm sad that it's over, but I'm so excited for all of you, because this is an amazing program. And I know that we're going to just see so many of those platinum members hitting ClickBank Platinum this year. So I can't wait to see that. So again, you guys keep it up. And thanks for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, great. And guys, obviously I'll be here for a little bit longer here as well, because obviously we got the YouTube stuff, but I appreciate everybody being on. One of the cool things we're seeing, that the amount of people each and every week here on the master classes, really didn't change. I mean, we had, a ton of people in the beginning, a ton of people right now, which is awesome. So it's just a testament to your, commitment to be successful, right? Because, this is, yes, we covered 6 weeks, guys, but there's a whole lot more for us to get done here. Okay. And that's why it's important you stick with it and make it happen. So awesome, guys. So I appreciate everyone being here. We're going to go ahead and take a quick, brief intermission, about 10 minutes or so. So grab a bite to eat, grab some water, use the bathroom, come on back here. And we will be back again for the second part of the masterclass for week number 6, where we'll be covering YouTube with Coach Mariah. So we'll see you guys in a little bit.
Bye.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Robbie here. Welcome back from break. Hope you guys are doing great, and welcome to the last and final week of the 6-week masterclass and the second half of the 6-week masterclass here, week number 6. Excited to be with you guys once again. Let me know in the chat if you guys have been having a good time over these past 6 weeks. If you guys have been enjoying Project Platinum and all the amazing stuff that comes with it. Yeah, I see everyone saying yes in the chat. Perfect. Well, I'm excited to be here with you guys as always, and today is going to be probably a little bit shorter than we usually do, but not because it's not going to be great. It is going to be great, and we're going to be covering some things when it comes to scaling up your campaigns. Now, obviously, it's been a journey. We covered all kinds of stuff from mindset at the beginning of week 1 all the way up to where we are today, scaling your campaigns. Now, it's important, guys, to remember that we are, making sure that we always take action every single week. We make things happen here. And hopefully you've been following along step by step each and every week that we've been doing this together. And so because that is how you are going to be successful with what we do here inside of Project Platinum. Okay. Now, whether you decided to focus on the Facebook track or whether you're focusing on the YouTube track, either way is fine. But make sure you guys just stick with it, see it through, and that's where your success will happen. Okay. Really important to pay attention to that. All right. Now, in addition to that, guys, we are also going to cover a few other things as well. But before we begin, let me go ahead and bring on my partner in crime here as well. And that is, of course, the one and only Coach Mariah.
Hey, everyone. I'm super excited to see all the feedback, people loving YouTube. And I agree. I love it, too. Really easy to use, right? Really easy to launch your campaigns, easy to monitor, analyze your data. So really excited to see that everybody's enjoying YouTube training. And yeah, I'm excited to be here for another training as well. And in this training, we're going to cover a lot of good stuff and how that you can actually maximize your profit and scale your campaigns to the moon. So yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, let's dive into it, guys, and let's get rocking and rolling here. So guys, yeah, so what we covered today, or what we've been covering over the past 6 weeks, I should say, is that a lot of stuff. I mean, it's been quite a journey, right? We went over, mindset and the platinum tools, and went over Google ad account setup and YouTube setup and Spy Hero and platinum pages. Week number 3, we set up that first video ad. You guys remember that? How to upload it to your channel. We covered week number 4, creating your tracking conversion event, getting Commonly set up and launching your first campaign. Then week number 5, we talked about how to analyze your data. We actually showed you inside a real campaign that spent over $100,000 on, and the numbers to look at. And when it comes to your view rate and your back-end KPIs. And then, today, the thing we want to cover is really important, is scaling. So being in a position where, if you have a winning video and your numbers looking good and ROI is looking good, well, we want to spend more money on that because, the more we can spend, the more will come back to us, right? So how to scale up your ads in that way, right? Also some advanced A/B testing. So in terms of how to split test things as well, and then optimizing for mobile, which we'll talk about, and then we'll do a little Q&A, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the 6 weeks. So yeah, let's dive into it.
Let's get started. Okay, so let's go over how to scale up your ads. Okay, so this is, if you haven't found a winning ad yet, guys, you don't want to do this. Okay, make sure that you're being patient, find your winning ad first, and then you can start to scale. Okay, that's important. If you're not making money, it's important to understand that you don't want to force it, right? If you're not making money with $200, $300, it doesn't mean that if you spend $600, $1,000, you're going to make money, right? So make money first, get sales first with small budgets. And if that's happening, you are getting sales, then you can start to scale your ads, okay? So let's go over the requirements to scale, right? Again, winning video. You need to have a winning video. Don't try to scale with a video that's not performing. Your campaign spend is stabilized. We talked about target CPA, right, in a previous training, and how important it is to stabilize the ad spend, right? Because we know that Google sometimes can spend your budget really fast in a matter of an hour or even less than that. So we want to make sure that that target CPA is stabilized so that your budget, your daily budget, is being spent throughout the entire day and not in a matter of hours, okay? So this is important, guys, because if you raise that budget, if you scale, let's say that you scale to $3,000, $4,000 a day, and that spend is still not stabilized, it can spend that $3,000 a day really fast and not give you really good results. Okay, so you want to be careful with that. Get the feel for how the campaign's spending. Monitor that spend closely so you can tell that if it's going well, you're profitable, then you want to, and the spend is going okay, then you want to start scaling. And obviously, another very important requirement is ROI, right? You do not want to scale a campaign that is not profitable, that doesn't have an ROI. Now, I would say that you want to be at least above 40% ROI before you start to scale. Obviously, the higher the better, but I would say even minimum 40% ROI, okay? Other metrics to consider, you want to take a look at your cost per click, cost per conversion, and CPA versus revenue share model. So basically cost per click, right? If you're starting to get really high cost per click, you're getting really good ROI, but your cost per click jumped and now it's really expensive, that might not be the best time for you to start scaling your campaigns, okay? So watch that, just monitor your cost per click, make sure there's not a huge jump from, the day before to the day that you're trying to scale. Also, your cost per conversion, right? If your average order value is 120 and your cost per conversion is 120, while you're breaking even, you're not making money, it's not the time to scale. You want to scale when you're profitable, when you have ROI, right? And if you're breaking even, then that means that you're still in the testing phase. You still need to find your winning ad, okay? You're not in the scaling phase. So looking at your cost per conversion will give you an idea, right? We'll let you know how much you're profitable, how much you're making for each conversion. And that means that your ROI is good. If you have a good cost per conversion, that means you have good ROI, and it's time for you to start scaling. And then CPA versus the revenue share model, right? So if you're getting paid, what are you getting paid, right? Are you responsible for refunds? If you're getting, the vendor is paying you with the revenue share model, then you're responsible for refunds. So you want to make sure that you have even better ROI for scaling when you're actually getting paid that model. If your cost per acquisition, then that means you don't have to pay refunds, and that means that ROI is all profit. So that means that you can start scaling a little bit sooner too. So taking that in consideration is important as well. Okay, so refunds, obviously, they can take a good chunk of your profit, right? Sometimes the average, I would say, is 10%, right? 10% refunds, that's what you want to count for. So if you're in the revenue share model, you just want to make sure you have a little bit higher ROI before you start scaling. And now let's talk about what vertical scaling is. It's basically just increasing the budget on the campaign daily or every few hours, as long as your ROI holds, right? So it's really simple to do. You just go into the campaign and change the budget, okay? It doesn't put any of the ads or campaign, anything back in review. It's really, really easy, simple to actually scale, okay? And now let's go over what not to do. Okay, so basically you do not want to increase your budget if your ROI is not holding, right? So let's say that you change the budget, you started with $300 spend and you have a 40% ROI, and you decided, well, let me just now go to $400, right? Let me increase my budget, scale my ads a little bit. But then what happens is you wait a few hours and your ROI drops, right? Your ROI is now 10%. Then you do not want to increase that budget again, okay? Because it's not holding, right? So don't increase the budget if your ROI is not holding. And don't increase the budget if there are only 2 hours left in the day's ad schedule. What I mean by that, if your ad scheduled to stop at midnight, do not scale your campaigns around 10 p.m. at night, right? Because if you do, that means there's only 2 hours left in that ad in that day, and it's going to spend all that money very fast, right? The extra money that you increased. So when you're scaling, just pay attention to the time of the day for when your ads are, and guys, you can actually set your ads to stop earlier in the day if you want, right? Like at 8 p.m., 10 p.m. Not that I would suggest that you do that, but there is an option for doing that. And you just want to make sure that you're not scaling your ads 2 hours left. If there's only 2 hours left in the day's ad schedule, okay? That's important because you don't want Google to spend your money really fast in a matter of 1-2 hours, okay? Now let's go over some of the scaling strategies. Okay, so starting out, I think what I would suggest is that start out with the 50% strategy. Okay, so what basically that means is increase your budget by 50% every few hours as long as ROI holds. Okay, if you scale by 50% and then, like I said, ROI doesn't hold, then that means that you can either scale back or you can just let it stay at that budget for a little bit longer to see if it picks up again. The lower the spend, the longer you may have to wait to check your ROI again. It's important to know that because let's say that you're spending $300 in a day and then you scale your budget to $450, right? Then that means that there's an extra $150 spend there to be spent in a whole day, right? So you want, if you check in just the next hour, for example, it can actually just, maybe there might be just only a $20, $30, $50 ad spend there. And that's not enough spent for you to look at your ROI at that point. So you just it's important to understand that when you're scaling your campaigns, especially if you're a lower budget, you want to give it some time to look at what your ROI is before you decide if it's holding or not. Okay, so if you look, just give it a few hours, then check your ROI again. But then the lower the spend, the longer you can take to actually check that ROI. Now, if you're at higher spend, then you want to be very careful and you want to be checking your ROI constantly to make sure that it's holding. Okay, so the pros and cons for this strategy are, so the pros It's a safer method, and it will give you a more consistent ROI. Okay, so basically scaling it by 50% every few hours can give you a more consistent ROI than going from to 100% scale, right? And then 200. So I would say this is a safer method, more consistent ROI, easier to maintain that ROI, okay? And then the cons are, it just takes a little bit longer to scale than some of the other strategies that we're gonna go over. But definitely the method that I would suggest that you start out with, okay? Best, I would even say best method would be for campaigns that are a little bit lower budget, under 800. And if your ROI is still low, right, still in the 40% ROI, then I would start with this strategy first, see if you can improve ROI, or even or make sure that your ROI is holding when you're scaling the campaign, okay? And if it's not, just scale back down, okay? So we'll cover that in a minute too. All right, the next strategy is scaling your campaign every $500, right? Or by $500 increments. So same idea here, guys. You have to do it. You have to do it as long as your ROI holds, then you keep scaling. Okay, it's important to keep checking the ROI. Now, this is a much bigger increase, right, in ad spend. So in this situation here, you do want to make sure that you're monitoring your ROI closely every 1 or 2 hours to make sure it's holding. Because let's say that you are spending $1,000, $2,000 a day, and you're increasing by $500 every 3 hours, then you want to keep a close eye, make sure your ROI is holding, so that it doesn't spend that money and you're losing money, right? So that you want to make sure that you're only scaling if ROI is good. And if it's not, then you scale back down to recover from what the money that it's spent, okay? Recover the ROI. So with this strategy of scaling, it's much quicker to scale. Like you can actually scale really fast, right? To 5K days, 10K days, really fast with this strategy. And then there's, I would say, a medium risk. The ROI can fluctuate a little bit more in the beginning, right? Because you're going up in ad spend a little bit quicker. But it's a great strategy if you have a really good ROI, right? And you want to take advantage of that ROI. You want to take advantage that momentum that your campaign's having, right? You're having really good cost per sale. You have really great ROI. You want to take advantage of that momentum. And now you want to be more aggressive at scaling, and you're doing that every $500 increments. Now, I wouldn't do that if you are starting out and you have really low ROI, 40% ROI, you're still not sure how your ad's going to perform with a higher budget, okay? So this is a strategy for those that already have a winning ad. They're sure that they have a winning ad. It's really profitable, right? Really good ROI, 80% or more. And they want to take advantage of that momentum that the campaign's having. Campaign's really dialed in, and now they want to be more aggressive at scaling. Then you can scale this with this option, $500 every few hours. Keep checking ROI, and if ROI drops, then scale back down, okay? And then we have 1K plus bump, right? So same strategy as the 500, you're just scaling, but you're scaling even more by $1,000. And you all monitoring ROI very closely. So make sure that you're checking closely, because again, it can spend your money really fast, right? When you're at higher budgets. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're checking it really closely. It's going to be very easy to scale with this method, very fast. I want to say very quick to scale with this method. And but on the other hand, it can be a little more risky, right? Your ROI can drop much quicker. So you want to only use this method if you have ROI above 100% and the campaign's very optimized, very dialed in. You're already at 3K, 4K, 5K budgets, and now you're looking to take it to the next level. Then I would use this strategy for scaling, which is a much more aggressive way of scaling, right? But you want to take advantage if your campaign's dialed in, you're making money, you want to take advantage of that. And then I would definitely scale if your numbers are there, right? If your ROI is there, really, it's a really good way of scaling it really fast and making money really quickly, okay? Then we have the 1 time a day budget increase. Okay, so basically this strategy If you can't monitor your ROI really closely, right, but you still want to scale your campaigns, but you just have an event or something to do that particular day and you can't be watching that ROI really closely, is scale in the morning, okay? And scale one time in the morning. I would definitely try to watch the ROI in the beginning of the day just to make sure it's going well that day. But then if your ROI is holding the beginning of the day, then you should be good. Okay, you should be good for the rest of the day. And with this strategy, it's going to take a little bit longer to scale, right? If you just scale once a day, but it's a strategy for those that can't call, maybe if you have another job right now and you can't closely monitor your campaigns, then this might be a better strategy for you. Just scale one time a day in the morning. Okay. All right. And what happens if your ROI doesn't hold, right? Then you want to, if your ROI drops below 50%, then I would definitely drop the budget and try to recover ROI. Okay. Now you want to wait a couple, like I said, when you're checking, you have to check your ROI, make sure it's holding, and you want to take in consideration your budget, how much you're spending, how much you increase that budget. And so that you have an idea of how long you have to wait to check your ROI, right? So if you're a higher budget increments, then you want to check your ROI every 1-2 hours. If you're a very low budget, right, like $100 budget increase, then to see if your ROI is holding, you're going to have to wait much longer time, right? Maybe 6-8 hours. You're going to have to wait to be able to see if it's holding or not. Now, if your ROI is low, but still above 50%, you can give it some time, give it 1 or 2 days for Google to catch up with that new budget that you increased. Okay, sometimes it's scaling doesn't always mean that it's going to go up. There might be ups and downs in terms of ROI. So if you increase ROI, it dropped a little bit, but it's still above 50%. Just give it a little bit of time, because now Google is going to receive that data, right? That new data, the new purchases that you got. And that takes a little bit of time, guys. It doesn't show up in Google right away, okay? So it takes a little bit of time for Google to receive that new data and optimize your ads with the new data that you have been getting. And so just be patient. If you still have good ROI, then I would just wait a couple of days before you decide to actually drop the budget again, okay? Mm-hmm. But if your ROI doesn't improve in 1 or 2 days, then it's totally okay to lower the budget and try to recover what that previous ROI was, okay? And
awesome.
Anything?
Yeah, let's a couple people are asking if you can just go over, I think which one it was. I think it was the 1K one, the 1K strategy. Yeah, there you 1K bump. Yeah. Yeah. So this is something, guys, that obviously this is more of an advanced thing, because people are like, oh my gosh, you have to increase by $1,000. This is something you may not do right out the gate, right? This is something, as Coach Mariah says here, the best method for this is for, campaigns with a higher budget. So if you're already, at scale and you're already at $3,000 a day, for example, your ROI is 100%, then this is going to be a good thing to do. But you have to just be very careful of this. And that's why, like, high risk. Okay. So don't do this unless you're good to go. I mean, and Coach Mariah, I mean, what would you say, like, really, obviously a lot of people are just getting their campaigns going. What would you say is like the best strategy, like when you first start out?
First start out, guys, I would start with the 50% strategy, right? Let's say you have a campaign of $100, then just use the 50% strategy. Go ahead and scale to 150. Right. And then keep going up in little increments, right? Until you have, I would say, even like you have, you're spending $800 a day. And if your ROI is low, then that's or less than $100 a day, right? And your ROI is still low, 40%. You want to play safe and you want to scale by 50%. Or even if you don't feel comfortable with 50%, then scale by 20%, scale by 30%, right? It all comes down to what your ROI is at the end of the day and how much you feel comfortable spending as well, right? So, but be careful. What I would say is you do not want to try to force it and scale a campaign if your ROI is just not there, guys. If you have 10% ROI, don't scale the campaign, okay? Just keep working on the ads, keep trying to find keep trying to get better KPIs, better metrics. And then until you do, then you start to scale. And just start with the safer method, because it is Google can spend, and keep this in mind. This is important to understand. If you have a $2,000 budget, sometimes Google can spend more than $2,000 in a single day. Okay, so it is important to know that, right? And when you understand that the budget, whatever budget you assign, it can spend a little bit more than the actual budget you assign. So if you're still not comfortable in the beginning with higher budgets, that's totally okay. You can still make money with lower budget campaigns, and use the 50% strategy, or like I said, once again, 20-30% strategy, and just scale really slowly. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Yeah, good stuff. Awesome. Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay, awesome. So, and then let's see here. Where did I stop? Okay, we talked about if your ROI doesn't hold, what to do next, right? And now, what if scaling is not working, right? You try to scale the campaign, but then it just doesn't work. Your ROI was 50%, you scale, and now your ROI is 10, you're breaking even, and it just doesn't work, right? It's just not, you tried a couple times and it's just not working. Well, then that means you have to improve your ads. And it means that your ads, even though you're getting sales, they might not be really, really great, and they're not ready to be scaled, right? So that means that you need to analyze your ads, analyze your metrics. We talked about KPIs. Look at your landing page CTR. Look at optimizing your entire campaign, at your audiences, right? And maybe if you're targeting interests, or and that might not be the right audience for you, maybe you're better off going broad, right? So you have to take everything in consideration. You want to even look at your offer, right? Let's see what your conversion rate is for your offer, right? From order form to sales, you can look at that too. Look at that metric. Lander, like I said, if your lander is 40%, you can improve that metric. You can make it 60%, right? Try out different landing pages. And your video ad, right? So you can always improve your cost per click, improve your CTR, work on those things, try to optimize your video, try to test new landers. And if your offer is not converting well, you can try a new offer as well. But I would say offer would be the last thing that I would even consider. If you're picking, right, we talked about how to find platinum offers. And if you chose an offer that is on the top pages, it means it's an offer. Or if you even looked in Project Platinum, right, to find your offer there, it's an offer that converts, guys. So don't blame it on the offer if it's not converting for you, because most of the time it's just your funnel. You just have to work on your video ad. It's got to work on your landing page, get more data on your pixel. And then once you have those things and they're all aligned, then you're going to see better results. Okay, so just keep analyzing your data and to see where you can make improvements. And those are the basically the first three there, the three things that you should be focusing on. And I would say even the two first things, right? Because for the most part, you might be doing broad audiences. And then offer would be the last thing I would consider changing it. Okay. And anything to add to that, Robbie?
No, it's great. Yeah. So one of the things, guys, really to keep in mind as you get to the point where you are scaling and you find that, it doesn't stick. Remember, you can't force a campaign to scale. That's the same thing on Facebook and YouTube. Like the numbers have to just like scream at you that it's ready to be scaled. So just kind of keep that in mind. And if you do find that when you push the budget up, if it doesn't respond positively, like don't get discouraged. Just come back down, right? Start to reassess things and then go from there,
Yeah. And yeah, good point there, because that's the next thing I want to talk about. If you try to scale one time, right, and it just didn't work, I wouldn't even, try to start changing everything in your funnel. I think the first thing that you want to do is drop the budget down where it had good ROI and try to scale again. Now, if it's not working, then at that second time, then analyze your numbers and see where you can make some changes, what you can improve in your funnel, and then get that ROI to be good again so that you can attempt to scale one more time, okay? But sometimes it's just a matter of dropping the budget. Maybe that wasn't a great day to scale. So a lot of times it's just a matter of doing that, dropping the budget and then scaling again the next day, okay? Yeah, and like Robbie said, don't get discouraged. Definitely just look at the metrics, guys. Look at the KPIs. And be very analytical, see where you can improve, what numbers you can improve, and then go again, right? But if you have ROI, but it's not really good ROI, that means you're on the right path, like you're onto something, right? There's something about your campaign that's working, but you can still make some little adjustments to make it even better, right? And that sometimes could be the lenders, sometimes could be the ads, or it could be the audience, or a lot of times it could be, sometimes could be just testing out a new offer, okay, with that same funnel. So just test out some new things and try to improve those numbers and then try to scale again, okay? All right, and that's it about scaling. Now we're gonna move on to advanced strategies. And one of them is advanced A/B testing. Now, if you haven't found your winning ad, I don't want you to do this, okay? This is more advanced. This is for when you already have a winning campaign running and you've been running it for a couple of months and it's doing great, or even a couple of weeks, but you want to take it to the next level. There are a couple of things that you can do, and we're gonna cover them right now. Okay, so basically what is A/B testing? It's just a way of that you can split your traffic to test different variables in a campaign and in order to determine which one performs better and then optimize for that variable that's performing better, okay? Why do we do this? Well, we do it to maximize ROI, obviously, to make more money, and we do it to prevent ad fatigue, okay? And here are the things that you can split test, right? Interest scene, hook, actor, lender, right? And offer. Okay, so we talked about interest scene and hook in a previous training. And a lot of times, guys, if you have a winning ad, a winning campaign, and you've been running that for a few weeks, a month, 2 months now, and you did really good with it, right? You were making a lot of money with it, but now the performance started to drop, okay? You don't have to a lot of times you don't have to completely come up with completely new videos. A lot of times it's just a matter of changing out the interest scene and the hook. And then, and that gives you basically a whole new video, right? It will pick the people's curiosity, attention, because they're seeing something different, right? In that first 5 seconds. So testing out interest scenes, hooks, creating a new pattern interrupt can improve the view rate on the ads, okay? And can also give the algorithm new content and prevent the ad fatigue that we were talking about, okay? So this is just for you that have already found your winning ad, you made money with it, and you want to now, but it's your performance dropped and you want to start testing different things. You can do this, just basically change the interest scene, the hook, and improve your view rate and avoid some ad fatigue, okay? And then actor, right? Actor, what that means is you can actually hire someone to narrate your video, a real person, a human being, instead of using the AI. You can actually hire someone to be the speaker in your video, right? And Fiverr is one of the places where you can go in and find those people, right? So Fiverr.com, you can hire people there and people there. And then what this does is it can help create more trust in your video, right? Having a human being there, a real person, can help create more trust and improve the view rate and the click-through rate and the cost per click in the winning video that you already have. Now, if you don't have a winning video yet, I wouldn't worry about having an actor do this. I wouldn't worry about hiring an actor. The videos without actors, they can perform really well too, right? You can have really good ROI with those. So this is more advanced for those that already have a winning video and they just want to test it with an actor and see the difference, right? Of the video without the actor and with the actor. And a lot of times the one with the actor can actually perform better. So go ahead and do that as well, okay? And then obviously the landing page, right? Creating a new image for your landing page, a new headline, a new layout, new colors can also help with your metrics and ad fatigue, and just give a new look for your landing page. Even the copy on your landing page, changing that out as well. Testing out different landing pages to improve that ROI on the landing page, right? If you have one that's 40%, but you're trying to get to a 60% landing page ROI, just test some different ones and then find a one that's converting really well, okay? And then the offer, right? Sometimes you can actually take the same exact video landing page and test it out with different offers. But of course, you would have to, when you're doing that, you do have to change the hook on the video, right? So if it's lip melt, you have the slimming sprinkles, right? And if it's alkaline, you have the ice hack. So if you want to use the same script that you did really well for alkaline with lip melt, you want to make sure that that script is actually it's actually going to work and flow with the offer lip melt, right? So a lot of times it's just a matter of changing out the hook. And maybe there might be a couple other lines in there, you know, where they, like the university that they learned about this method. If you're very picky and you want to make sure the university, the researches, they match with the VSL, then you can kind of make those adjustments so that it matches with the information on the VSL for the new product. And same goes for landing pages. But it's so easy to actually test a new offer. You really don't have to make a lot of adjustments to test a new offer. You can literally use the same thing and just change things in a matter of 20 minutes. You just make a couple tweaks, and then you have everything ready to test a new offer. Okay. And sometimes a funnel can perform different with different offers. So it's interesting to test your funnel with different offers. But I want to emphasize once again that this is more advanced, and don't think that, all right, if you have a video ad that's not performing, right? You created 2 video ads and none of the 2 video ads gave you the results that you wanted. I don't want you to blame the offer, because most likely it's just that you just have to do more testing, okay, on your video ad. So offer should be one of the last things you really want to change it out and test. All right. Anything to add, Robbie, to that?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, guys, let me know in the chat. This has been helpful. So, I mean, we covered a lot of stuff so far. I mean, everything from scaling and then how to split test stuff. And, you know, really every little piece of it, guys, can play a role. And so, you know, the key is, as you start to scale up your campaigns, is to, you know, then you can get a little bit more nitpicky in terms of what you're testing, you know, from the intro to the hook, to the actor, to the lander, to the offer, you know, actor being the person that, you know, is on the ads. So there's a lot of things you can do there for sure. But no, this has been great. Yeah, let's keep going. Yeah.
All right. So the last thing that we're going to cover in this training, guys, is how to actually optimize your videos for mobile, right? And oops, see what happened here. Let me go back to this slide. All right. And like we said, like this is, you know, the last 2 things here that we're talking about. It's more advanced for someone that's already been through the other ways of testing, it has already followed the how to find your winning ad, right? Finding your way to winning ad video that we talked about, that basic type of testing. So the advanced A/B testing is a little more advanced. The optimizing videos for mobile is also a little bit more advanced. But if you already at this stage and you found your winning video, you're making some money, you have some ROI there, and now you want to take it to the next level, you can optimize your videos for mobile, okay? And you can basically do the way to, you're going to be shocked how easy it is to do this. So let me show you really, really quickly. We're going to go to the Platinum tools here, click on video editor, right? I'm already in here. And then you're going to click on the home button here and open your video that you created, that's giving you your winning video, that's giving you results. Open that. And then you can click on that home button again and click change format. And now change it to vertical. Okay. Click copy and change. I would do a copy and change, so that way you still have the original there. And now you do want to check, you know, every scene to make sure it looks good in the formatting that it is, the new formatting. You're going to have to actually change the text here to align with the new formatting here. So to do that, just double click the text. And on the right side here, you can make this a little bit smaller and adjust to where you want this to be. And let's put it right there. Okay, great. And now, remember, you can click on adjust size of text box to fit text in case it's too small, right? Like in case you have something like that, just click on that box and there you go. Hit save changes and do the same thing for the other text that you have in your video. Okay. And oops, let's go ahead. There we go. You can even, move the text to the bottom or center, whatever you want to do. There we go. Hit save changes. And if you want to make the scenes a little bit smaller, you can do that as well, guys. So just click on the scene, double click on the scene, and you can actually make it a little bit smaller if you want, and then move. Maybe you want to do the scene at the top and then the text at the bottom instead, something like that. You can do something like that as well and just edit the video for mobile really, really quickly, okay? So really, really cool, something that you can do if you're getting really good results with mobile and you want to just target mobile by itself in a different ad group, you can actually do this and upload a video optimized for mobile. Once you're done, just go ahead and hit finish on the top right corner and then export. Okay, so really, really, really easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, this is pretty much all you have to do here, guys. Now, I think we covered everything we wanted to cover for this session, and we can move on to questions and answers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see. All right. Looking for questions here. Yeah. So someone's asking like, what's a good indicator that my campaign is ready to scale?
Okay, good question. Yeah, so ROI, guys. You have to have positive ROI, a minimum of 40%. Take in consideration if you're on the CPA, right, and you don't have to worry about refunds at all, and you want to start scaling with 30%, 35%, you can do that too. Just scale really big. Just go slow with your scaling. But definitely a minimum of 40% is when I would try to start scaling my campaigns.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So it's so important, guys. You have to know without a doubt that the ROI is very, very good in order to scale up. Otherwise, if it's just okay, if it's, break even, then you're not going to want to scale it up. You just got to be more patient getting that set up. Okay. Let's see here. Here's kind of a random question. Someone's saying, Mariah, what was your best day ever on with ClickBank?
With ClickBank, my $50,000 in a day. Yes, wow. In sales, and that was about $22,000 in profit.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So guys, when we talk about being able to, scale up, I mean, that's a perfect example. I mean, over $50,000 in sales, $20,000 in profit. That's a very good day. So, so that's just, just to get you guys inspired and show you what's possible. Let's see here as far as the questions. Let me see. Someone's saying that, let me see. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So people are asking about if their Google account was shut down. Don't worry about that, guys. There's a video. We actually are adding a video into the members area. You should be able to see that where if you do have an issue with your Google account, how to get another one set up. I believe Coach Mariah has a video on that, going through the steps on how to get another Google account set up.
Yes. There's a video in the members area that will talk about what you can do if that happens to your accounts, the different strategies for creating new accounts, guys. And it's important to watch that video before you try to create a new account, okay? Because there are steps that you have to take to be able to create a new account and not get shut down again. So watch that video for sure, okay?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got here. Another question is someone says do you need to have multiple Google accounts when you're running ads, or is it okay to just have one account?
It's okay to just have one account, but I would definitely suggest that you create sub accounts. We call them sub accounts. Okay. So basically, once you already have one Google account with that Gmail, right, you can create sub accounts with the same exact Gmail. Okay. And I would recommend that you do that, because just in case something happens to one of your accounts, you can use the sub accounts to continue running campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you can create as many as you want. I think there is a limit, but it's something crazy. So you're not going to reach that limit. You can create tons of accounts in there. But yeah, absolutely. You can make a lot of money with just one account alone. You don't need multiple. I would still create multiple, especially if you want to separate, if you might be, in a place where you have a campaign that's super successful and you know exactly how to run YouTube ads. Now you're confident and you want to actually promote more offers. And then you can have different accounts for each offer, right? And just keep it separate. But again, guys, I say that for more advanced, the advanced people that are actually already comfortable with running YouTube campaigns. And if you're starting out, then focus on one offer, okay? Just make sure that don't try to do multiple offers. That's going to give, it's going to double the work and double the money that you have to spend testing. So just focus one offer at a time.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and that's another good question I see someone asking as well, is like, should you have one Google account per niche or per offer? Like, or what do you like? Can you run multiple offers in one YouTube account? What would you say?
You can run multiple offers. I would recommend to just keep it separate, but you can have multiple pixels for each Google account, and each one for each offer or each niche, right, that you want. It's okay to use the same Google account to do multiple offers, multiple niches. I just, personal preference, prefer to do different accounts for each niche, and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So really ideally it's good to keep it separate if possible, guys. That way you have, your data is a little bit more pure, and that you're able to kind of keep things a little bit more organized as well. And also the other reason why it's good to run just one offer at a time is if, something were to happen, from a compliance standpoint with one offer, you don't want it affecting, your entire account because of that. So definitely good question there for sure. Let's see. Any other questions you see here, Coach Mariah?
No. Someone is asking again, what's the name of the site to hire the actor? So that's Fiverr, Fiverr.com. That's where you can go in and find actors to narrate the video for you. Also, we talked about intro scenes, right? You can have designers create intro scenes. If you want to go that route, you can have someone do that for you. Yeah. But like, again, guys, that's just something you don't have to have on your first videos. I mean, the Platinum tools are absolutely amazing with the voiceovers that you can generate from there. It's just, you cannot tell the difference between if it's a human or not a human, right? It just sounds so good nowadays. And that wasn't always the case, right? Like just a year ago, these voiceovers did not sound natural, but now it does, and it's just really, really good that you almost don't have to have that actor in to do it for you, right? But again, this is more advanced. If you want to already have a winning video and you want to compare and just test and see the difference between the two, that's one of the things that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. Yeah, great stuff for sure. Awesome. And then also, guys, as well, I know I've said it many times this past couple of weeks, but also if you're interested in learning more about getting one-on-one help from either Coach Mariah or one of our other awesome coaches, you can always go to set up a call to learn more about private coaching just by going to that. I'll pop the link in the chat there. We'll put that slide up for you as well, which is going to be projectplatinum.com/1on1. As we mentioned many times, there's everything you need for success is in Project Platinum, but just like everything you need to lose weight is in the gym, right? But sometimes it's good to have a trainer, a coach that can work with you one-on-one, keep you accountable, keep you on track. And so if you're interested in learning more about that, guys, go to projectplatinum.com /one-on-one. And you can, even work with Coach Mariah, who's done an awesome job these past 6 weeks. And so great. And then also, guys, see a lot of the questions here that we've kind of already answered some of these in the Facebook group. We're seeing a lot of the same questions. And so I would really, a couple of things I would recommend. Number one, make sure you guys watch the replay of this if, once we post it for both, the Facebook side of things, the YouTube side of things. Also, I would suggest, always utilize that Facebook group, posting questions in there. Myself, Coach Mariah, Coach Stephanie, all the other coaches we have are in there answering questions as well to help you have success with Project Platinum. And so, so that's great. Yeah, let's see. So I think that's it for questions. I don't see anything else that is popping up in my chat, the stuff that we haven't answered. Let's see, but cool. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today, guys. Then, so first of all. And before we wrap it up, guys, give a big thank you to Coach Mariah. I know she's been working hard over the past 6 weeks here and helping you guys have success. And I know that obviously, she's done most of the videos for the YouTube section of Project Platinum. And so she's a rock star. I know she's been working hard with that. So give her a big thank you in the chat for all her hard work. And she's awesome. I know she's very passionate about this. And she's also an inspiration, right? So, the fact that she, several years ago didn't have an online business, didn't even want to have an online business. And here she is now, teaching you guys how to have success, based on her own success. It's pretty cool. So make sure you guys give her a big thank you for doing this. I know I appreciate her for sure. And also, guys, big thank you to everyone as well. Just every single one of you guys on the workshops that we've been doing here in the master classes. So whether you've been with the Facebook side of things, the YouTube side of things, really appreciate everyone being here and just taking the time to commit to your success, right? And even though the 6 weeks is now over, it doesn't mean that you're going to stop succeeding. No, this is just the start of your journey, right? And so I would highly recommend just keep pushing forward. There's a lot of success that can come out of this system for you as long as you implement it, as long as you stick with it. As long as you don't quit, just make it happen. Okay. So I really appreciate everyone being here. A big thank you again to Coach Mariah for being here. Coach Mariah, anything you want to add before we call it a day?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I had a lot of fun in the last 6 weeks here, and I appreciate every one of you. And I'm looking forward to seeing your results. Definitely post them in the group and ask your questions so we can continue helping you moving forward here. And what I want to say is, guys, when I launched my first ever campaign, YouTube campaign, my first ad, it did not work, right? So I want to say this because you might run into that situation too, right? And I don't want you to feel discouraged. I want you to know that it's 100% normal to launch a campaign and not make money right away from the beginning, right? And that just means that you need to just tweak a couple things and launch again and start making money. And I promise you, if you follow everything that we teach here that you learned, and you actually take action every day and you put in the work, you're going to have success. You're going to be able to achieve your goals, and one of them being platinum, right? Achieving that platinum status. And that's definitely just push forward, take action every day, do a little bit. If you're someone that's working another job, I mean, I started that way too. I also was in that situation. But 2 hours, 1 hour a day goes a long way. So put in the work, take action every day, participate, definitely participate in the group. You're not alone. That's why we have the group, the community there, so that you can share your experience and ask your questions and post your results too, guys, because you need to, right? It's so good to see results in the group, and a lot of people get encouraged by that. So when you are having results, definitely post in the group. Don't stay quiet. Don't keep it to yourself. Help others, right? Show them what's possible. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited to continue seeing your questions and, like I said, results in the group. And thank you again for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity here, and I hope that everyone enjoyed this training. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good stuff. And yeah, thanks so much for everyone for being here and being part of Project Platinum. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Keep pushing forward, and I'm looking forward to seeing people at the next ClickBank Platinum event too. So make sure you guys are, definitely striving for that. There's no reason why you can't hit that and be on your way to doing that. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for me. That's it for Coach Mariah. Thank you so much for being with us during these entire 6 weeks, and really looking forward to seeing you guys succeed in the coming weeks and months and years. So that's it for me, guys. Talk to you soon, and take care.